2025 is shaping up to be an awesome year for gaming. 2023 was still probably my favorite in recent memory, but nevertheless, 2025 is shaping up quite nicely. We've got a lot of major developers coming out in force and delivering us some quality titles. Not only that, but we're getting a brand new console with the Nintendo Switch 2 on the horizon. So needless to say, a lot going on. I don't think we're going to get too many more surprises this year. I kind of figure that E3, in a sense, has sort of come and gone. I know Xbox is supposed to announce a couple of things later on this week, including the rumored Oblivion remake, which they should shadow drop, apparently. I don't know. I don't buy into that. But anyway, I kind of feel like most of the major announcements have already come for the year. I don't know quite what else they could announce. But as of right now, this being April 22nd, 2025, these are my top 10 most anticipated games for 2025. Starting off the list, actually, with a game that is, well, two games, and they're technically both already out. That is Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Now, I already know what y'all are saying. Well, those games are already out, and I actually already have both of these titles. However, I am really looking forward to the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrades. These things are going to run buttery smooth at 4K, 60 frames a second. I kind of put up with the frame rate and the tech issues in the first gen Switch because I didn't really have much of a choice. But I got to be honest with you, Tears of the Kingdom was a little difficult to get through for me. I actually never finished it. I probably got 35% of the way and just kind of eventually stopped. And I went back to Pikmin 4. But I'm excited now that with the Switch 2, we're going to get such a nice upgrade that a lot of people that have played these games have said they play almost like completely brand new titles. They feel completely different, which gets me very excited because I've already bought them, I already own them. So to play them in a better, more, capable way is extremely exciting to me. I have heard rumors that the DLC is or is not included, is up for debate. However, I already own the DLC for Breath of the Wild, and there is no DLC at the time of this recording of Tears of the Kingdom. So I'm pretty much already good to go. Not only that, but apparently if we're a Nintendo Switch Plus or Nintendo Switch Online subscriber, we already get these upgrades for free. So it's like a win-win for me. Once I get the console, I might not even touch Mario Kart World first. I may just jump right into Zelda. I have no idea. But I'm extremely excited for both of those titles. They do have like a lot of new phone support integrated with them, with that new thing that they're going to do. I don't remember. It's on the Nintendo Online application. I might test that out, but probably not. I'm primarily coming back for the frame rate. That is the big seller for me. That is the reason I want to be back. But they both look glorious. They look beautiful. With all those tech issues guaranteed to be out of the way. I don't know. There's a chance that Tears of the Kingdom might come back and potentially win Game of the Year for me. Maybe. Possibly. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. All right, but number 9, my most anticipated game for 2025 is Bravely Default for the Nintendo Switch 2. This is a game I have always sort of had kind of orbiting around me. It's always been in the vicinity of me. I've always kind of kept my eye on it. I love my 3DS, played it all the time, but there's always something like new and exciting that I wanted to play, and I bought a used copy at GameStop of Bravely Default, but I just never touched it. I just never put it into the console. I was always busy jumping on other things, and Nintendo's doing this, and they're doing that, and I'm sure you guys can remember that those last 3 years of the 3DS's life cycle were they're pumping them out constantly, and so it just got buried, and I never touched it. I always love the art style. I think it looks absolutely beautiful. Like the backgrounds are painted style, and you play in these little kind of characters and stuff. I don't quite understand the default mechanic that people are talking about, but I'm willing to kind of figure it out. And while I'm not the biggest JRPG fan, this looks like it's something that I might possibly get into. I don't know. I'm willing to give it a shot. And it's only going to be $40 on the Switch, which is the same price that it was on the 3DS. and it's going to be in HD, and it's going to be much better looking, and obviously the performance will be 10 times better. So yeah, I think this is great. Extremely excited for this title. Number 8. This is a title that I've actually kind of been keeping my eye on for a while now, and that is Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta. A fun fact, this actually comes out on my birthday, which is really exciting. Anytime I see a game coming out on my birthday, I kind of like pay a little bit extra attention to it because I'm really vain like that. But I've always wanted to try a Metal Gear Solid game. I've never really played them. And I was going to pick up the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection that came out, the Volume 1 that came out a couple years ago. But I was like, no. Konami has a bad track record as of right now. I'm going to wait for the reviews to come out. And they seemed really kind of divisive, and they seemed kind of, people were kind of iffy about it. And so I was like, well, I may just hold off for a little while. And then they announced this remake, which is of what people say is the best Metal Gear Solid game. So it's like, well, they're going to modernize it. So I have no nostalgia for the franchise. So I can't look past the technological faults of prior games. But if they're going to take an old game, keep all the good stuff, modernize the stuff that was bad or didn't work as well, this may be the best way to introduce me to this franchise. The premise and the story sound really interesting. I don't really know too much about the developers of these games. Like Kojima, that's who it was. Oh my god, I just had a really bad brain fart there. Sorry, everyone's screaming at me. But I'm not a huge hardcore fan of him. I don't really know his work too well, but I'm trying to find a good way to get into the franchise, and I'm hoping that the reviews come out, because I'm going to wait for reviews. I'm hoping when the reviews come out that everyone says, this is the version, this is possibly the best Metal Gear that's ever been released. We're hoping for more remakes in the future, especially of Metal Gear 1. Because if I'm being honest, the story of Metal Gear Solid 1 seems the coolest. I'm nostalgic for that late 90s kind of techno thriller Tom Clancy vibe of the first one. But who knows, man? I'm hoping it comes out, gets well received, and hopefully this will be the game that finally gets me into the franchise, and maybe I'll go back and pick up the Master Collection and play through that back catalog. I mean, who knows? All right, coming in at number 7, we have Kirby's Air Riders. This is a title that I'm very excited for. First of all, I love the GameCube. The GameCube is my favorite console almost ever made. I am so nostalgic for that console. I love everything about it. Even the things that other people hate, like Mario Sunshine, I adore. So the fact that we're getting, Kirby Air Riders as a sequel to the Switch 2 is fantastic. I hope that they also add the first game to that NSO GameCube set. Hopefully that eventually comes out. They'll probably do a little thing with that. But the main reason I'm excited for this title is because it's being directed by Masahiro Sakurai, which is the same guy that did the Smash series, which he does a fantastic job. And the most tragic thing about him is that he's been just buried under the Super Smash Bros. Franchise. He never gets to, get out from under there and do something creative of his own. And when he does, it's something like Kid Icarus, which has a huge cult following, but obviously doesn't sell as well as Smash Bros. But I'm glad he's going to do something for himself, have some fun, be creative, like get weird with this, flex those creative muscles that I'm sure he's still got from all of the years of development with Nintendo and HAL Laboratories. But that is my number 7 pick. I'm super excited for Kirby Air Riders, and I'm looking forward to see some more footage of that, because we haven't really seen too much of it, just a little bit of a animated intro. I'd like to see some gameplay next time, Nintendo, so if you could make that happen, that'd be fantastic. Coming in at number 6, I just basically said the GameCube titles. However, they're not going to give us too many of the GameCube titles right at launch. We're going to get Wind Waker, and then we are going to get F-Zero, and then Soul Calibur, I think, are the main 3 we're going to get right out of the gate. However, the main reason I'm excited for this is because of Wind Waker. Wind Waker is a game that I have always really, really wanted to play. I've played some of it, like the little intro on the island, and then the big bird comes in and swoops down. I've played that a couple of times, like at friends' houses or on the GameCube and things like that. but I never owned the game for myself for whatever reason. When I was younger, I always kind of just stayed away from Zelda, and now I'm sort of coming back to it later in life. I have been holding off, and I partially want to hold off because I wanted them to just give us the HD version, like Wind Waker HD from the Wii U. Just port that over to the Switch, and I'll gladly just buy that right out. I'm fine with it being available on the NSO subscription side. However, I just really want widescreen support. I'm not down for that 4:3 kind of look. And, I'm already an online subscriber, so I'm going to get this whole set just natively for free. So, I don't know. If they don't give us widescreen support for that title, I don't know. I may wait longer because after seeing how beautiful it looked on the Wii U, it's hard to now just go back to this 4:3 with those little NSO. I don't know. I wish they just get rid of that. Either just make it completely black screen or allow us to have 16:9 aspect ratio on all these titles, because I'm just really not a fan of that. I don't know. But hopefully Wind Waker will be available widescreen. Hopefully it'll look beautiful on the Switch too. I'd love to play it, especially this is all coming out in summertime. I'd love for this to be my summer game that I just get to enjoy. Adventuring on the high seas with Link and everybody. Like, I'm really hoping. Fingers crossed, folks. Fingers crossed. Coming in at number 5, we do have kind of a surprise here with Doom Dark Ages. Or is it Doom the Dark Ages? I don't know if there's a "the" in there. Anyway, I'm really looking forward to this title, but I gotta be honest with you, I kind of passed on Doom Eternal. I played Doom 2016 a lot. I was all over that game. I played through it many, many, many times. I love how fast and frantic and just like wild that game felt back in 2016. I think that was my game of the year in 2016. It was fantastic. For whatever reason, I just never really got into Doom Eternal. I think it came out on the same day as Animal Crossing, and I do love me some Animal Crossing, so I think I just dove completely headfirst into New Horizons and skipped Doom Eternal. But now this is coming out, I believe, May 15th or something like that, or May 25th. I can't remember. But it looks great. That'll be between now and the release of the Switch too, so I got nothing else to play. Really no more excuses. I think I might fully jump into this title. It looks glorious and violent and disturbing, and I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to give it a try. Now, in the exact opposite vein, coming in at number 4 from the developer Chucklefish, we have Witchbrook. Now, this is opposite to Doom, but it just looks like a really cozy, beautifully art-styled kind of life sim. You're like attending a witch college, and you got to make some extra money. And I'm hoping this game, I believe it has a multiplayer aspect to it. I hope it does, because that would be fantastic. But even if it doesn't, I really want to play this game. I love those kind of cozy games where you can just kind of sit back and relax. You got to worry about too much. Just take it easy, do your little chores for the day, and just have fun. I mean, obviously, I love Animal Crossing. Not saying that this is like that, but I like those really kind of simple styled games. I can do the fun, crazy, complex From Software titles, but sometimes you just want to kick back, look at some really pretty artwork, and just kind of decompress a little bit. And Witchbrook seems to really, really kind of fill that kind of vibe for me. So here's hoping that this comes out sooner than later. I think this is scheduled for winter time, but I'm kind of hoping this will be a back-to-school title, like come out around September, October. You've also got the witch kind of feels there. I don't know. Could be fun. Hopefully we get it sooner than later. I don't want this to be like a December 20th kind of game, because it's just going to get, buried under a bunch of other stuff, and we'll just never see it again. All right, and then moving on to number 3 is, of course, Mario Kart World, the big one. Regardless of how people feel about the pricing, which is still kind of divisive, I'm optimistic on the software alone. Whether or not it's going to be worth that $80, we will have to see. But as of now, I'm extremely excited for this title. I hope that it's everything I'm imagining it being, or at least the way that they're marketing it to us. This will be a game I'd love to play, with other people or just by myself. I know my wife is extremely excited about trying this out. Um, I, you know, I'm optimistic about it. I know that a lot of people are saying that the content's not going to be there. It's not going to be worth the money, but just, I don't know, forget the money for a second. I think as long as I can get about 100 hours of gameplay out of this, I'm fine. To be honest with you, I'm okay with that. As long as it's not something like, well, you play it for like 30, 40 hours and you just you beat the game and you're kind of done. It's like, no. I want to kind of get lost in it. If we're going to do this open world thing, I hope it's a similar kind of vibe as Breath of the Wild, where it's like, I could just drive and just, oh, what's that? Oh, let's go see this. Oh, what's going on with that? Hopefully some of those folks from the development team of Breath of the Wild gave some pointers to the Mario Kart team and said, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this, and you got to maybe add a little bit of it. That would be fantastic if it's going to have that similar kind of like, oh, I was driving to the next race, but what's that over there? I want to go check that out. I want to go see, and you get distracted, right? And you're all over the place. That would be fantastic. And I'm getting the feeling like, too, there might be some kind of, they haven't announced this yet, but here, I got another prediction for this title. I think there might be some kind of boss battles in here. I mean, what if they used the battle modes, like the battle mode maps within the story mode, and they just dropped the giant, like, monster or dinosaur or something in there, right? Like, each little area has a different kind of boss fight that you can, like, come across or find or something like that. And maybe you've got to, like, upgrade your cart or something to a certain level, or have a certain costume on, or have a certain power up in order to, like, effectively fight them or something. I don't know. That may be going way too far, but you never know, I couldn't imagine just driving around an open world with absolutely nothing to do. And I can't, in a post Breath of the Wild world, I can't imagine Nintendo allowing that to happen. I would imagine that they would say, well, we got to put a lot of stuff out there. We got to give them a reason to go out there, give them a reason to drive off road. And I mean, they've proved themselves with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, right? So they've done it twice now. There's no reason they can't do it a third time. But speaking of that, I guess that was the end of number 3. Moving on to number 2, we have Metroid Prime 4. This is a title that I've been waiting for since 2017 when it was first announced. I got a good buddy of mine. He loves Metroid Prime. He's actually the one that turned me on to the franchise. And I remember I texted him because I was like, oh, I know he loves this. And he's like, oh, sweet. I'm going to have to get that whenever it comes out. And every time I kind of see him, because I don't see him too often, obviously, because before this I was living in Hawaii and then now I'm living in Japan. But whenever I'd see him and we start talking, and sometimes we'd bring up games and he'd go, by the way, what's the deal with Metroid Prime 4? And it's like, I don't know, man. It's still in development. They're still working on it. And finally, now I've been sending him the new trailers. He's like, yes, this is good. Excellent. Sweet. This is coming along very nicely. So I, like him, am very excited for this. The fact that it's being developed by Retro is perfect. When they first said it was going to be done by Bandai Namco, I was like, no. Give it to those boys in Texas. They know what they're doing. They know how to put a Metroid title together. And I think we're going to be all blown away when this comes out. I really do think that this is going to be... I'm hoping this is going to be like part 1 of a new trilogy. And hopefully we can get, Prime 5 and 6 maybe down the pipeline on the Switch too as well. That would be fantastic. I mean, I know it's taken them forever to do 4, but maybe they've done all the heavy lift in. They've got the engine up and running. They dusted off the cobwebs. They now know what they're doing. Maybe it might be easier to kind of similar to what they did with Prime 2 and 3, just kind of pump them out a little bit faster. But even if this is the only title that we get, I'm just excited that we're getting one brand new one. That's all I really want or need, but it would be nice to know that there's more coming, down the line. And finally, number 1, my number 1 most anticipated game. It's probably going to disappoint everybody that's listening to it because it's not a shocker to anyone that is in the gaming world, but it is Grand Theft Auto 6. This is a title that I have not really talked about on the channel yet because, I mean, lately everything's been Nintendo news, right? But GTA 6 is a title that I've been waiting for a long time. I remember when they first announced GTA 4 and it was going to be in Liberty City. I was like, okay, so they're doing a Liberty City one. Great. Hopefully that means the next time they make GTA 5, it'll be set in Vice City again. And then no, they put it in like the LA, the Los Santos area, and I was like, oh boy. And that's primarily the reason why I don't really care for GTA 5. I'm not a Los Santos guy. I don't like the California vibes. I'm just not into it. I didn't really care for San Andreas. I didn't really care for GTA 5. That's just not my thing. I'm a Vice City guy. That first Vice City game is my favorite of the franchise still to this day. But by the looks of GTA 6, man, this may be my new franchise favorite. This one looks exactly like what I want. Like, it's set in that Florida kind of vibe. I lived in Florida for a year when I was stationed out there. I love that whole aesthetic and the style of it out there, how colorful everything is, that Miami kind of vibe. Also the swamps and the gators and kind of like, it just looks so cool. I'm so excited for this title. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. I even think this looks like it's going to have a really interesting story mode with kind of the Bonnie and Clyde kind of duo there. I think that could be really cool. Um, my only really concern for this title is I hope that it runs okay on the PlayStation 5. I have a base PS5 unit, like a launch window version. I don't have any of the newer ones or the let alone the Pro, but I am hoping that it runs at least 1080 60. I'd be fine with that. Like hopefully just locked 60 frames. I'll be totally fine with that. I know a lot of people are worrying about the price, especially now in the wake of, an $80 Mario Kart World. Is Take-Two and Rockstar going to ask us for $100 for this game? And it's like, you know what? They could, because there's a good chance I would buy it either way, right? This is going to be bigger than Red Dead Redemption was when that came out in 2018. And I was there when that launched. I played that thing for like 100 hours straight all the way through. Fantastic experience. I'm imagining that this is going to be the same. However, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time that the Hauser brothers are not going to be a part of this game, right? I think the last game that Dan and Sean Hauser, I can't remember the other guy's name. I don't know, one of the name is Dan, but I think either one of them or both of them left. I can't remember. You guys probably know. I don't. But I am a little worried about that. But this is looking to be, a really solid entry into the franchise. Um, I'm not the hugest GTA fan, but I am the hugest Vice City fan, and so I love that setting. I love that style. Um, I'm hoping they're going to release some really cool collector's editions of this game because this is not something that I would rather just buy digital and just call it a day. I'd like to order some kind of premiere, nice packaged edition because Rockstar is famous for having really great collector's editions and special editions of their games. Like they usually have something kind of cool in there. Like they always give you the full map, and they like with Red Dead they gave us like a cool steel book. And I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm optimistic about it. I'm hoping it's going to come out this year. It was supposed to come out, I thought, in 2024, but that came and went, and all we got was a trailer. And now here it is, 2025, and we still got no information. Like we don't know the exact date. They just say it's roughly going to be fall. Uh, who knows what that means, man? If I were to guess, though, it is probably going to be an October release, similar to Red Dead Redemption 2, which is unfortunate. Uh, Being set in Miami, this would be the game to launch July 4th weekend. Like, that's what I would do. I'd be like, dude, everyone's going to be off work for July 4th. For those of you living in America, not me, because they don't really know what that is out here. It would be awesome to just launch that game and say it's coming out like July 3rd. And then all July 4th weekend, no one's going to be doing fireworks because everyone's going to be inside playing GTA. Like, that would, and what's more American than Grand Theft Auto? I mean, come on. But anyway, those are my top 10 most anticipated games for 2025. I feel like my last episode was kind of a downer, and so this one I wanted to be a little bit more positive, a little bit more positive on what's going on, what's coming up. A lot of great stuff coming out this year. Yeah, I mean, there's a few things we know that's great coming out next year. Um, but what are you most interested in coming out this year? What do you want to check out this year? What's on your list or what's on your backlog that you want to get to? Let me know down in the comments below. But until next time, thank you very much for stopping by.